Okay, so I started this earlier. It was a very, very poorly made. So just to start out, we want to start with Java, and well, it's a lot better than Python because you really can't make anything with Python. It's it's stupid, and that sounds a lot really hypocritical since I'm on a Raspberry Pi doing this. And the thing about Java is it can run on basically anything. It can run on Potato or Raspberry Pi, which are one of them is a lot tastier than Potato. So to start out, we want to make a class, and we're making a game, of course. In here, we want to put some variables. Say we want health, health, um, maybe maybe damage, magic, magic points, of course, and and maybe an action. Maybe you want to have a set amount of actions you could do within a turn, like Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever. And we also want some floats. Floats are numbers that can have decimals that reach out to the, I think, 20th or 32nd, some power of 2 decimal place. Just because of how computers work. Why did I say 20? Of course, uh, and that is bad business. So why I put an S, I'm way out of it. So we want a float of damage resistance, so we can put and instead of putting all of these resistances into one thing, we can have an array of floats. So we can have a um, we could have multiple types of resistance. So maybe we want 5 resistances. We can put float 4. It and in arrays, 0 is a valid place. So we could have we can call resistance 0, and that will give us whatever is in the 0th place, which is technically the first slot of data. So right now we technically have five slots of data. And in these we could call each of them a different thing in a little commented out place. So maybe we want, this is just telling ourselves what these different floats actually mean. So in here, maybe we want to have uh, 1 or 0 equal to regular damage. We could have, well, we could have 1 equal magic damage. Could have maybe 2 equals piercing damage. Well, if I could type correctly, this would be a lot easier. 3 could equal explosion. And 4 could equal, let's say, fire. And the thing about having floats as these is we can set them to a percentage and just multiply it by the health or the attack total to find out how much we actually did, of course. And as that, we could have a we could have some modifiers as well. So we could have a new float array of modifiers, and of course, don't forget to put the semicolon afterwards. Maybe we want to extend this to 7 to include shock, shock, ice, maybe even like what else? That well, we could just include it to 6 then. So yeah, maybe we want just 6 of these, and there you can have really long integer arrays, and you could test all of them with a simple for loop, and we'll get into that a lot later when we actually use for loops. But right now we're just working with integer or float arrays in this case. You usually start with integer arrays, then go to float arrays, constructor arrays, and other such things, and string arrays. It's really just whatever your tutorial is. So or if you just go on Oracle Docs, it'll tell you about integer arrays first, and Oracle Docs is very convoluted, as you can see. It just, what does this even mean? I mean, I learned Java on my own volition, and that's really how you get into programming in these languages, is by your sheer will to do it. And next we're going to have 6 equals frost damage or cold. And that's, putting it like this is just pretty. You could put it all after one of these. You could put it after 2 forward slashes, and it will give you the same result. But this is just prettier. You also don't need these stars, but it just for aesthetics. And maybe we want an array of strings, like different names. But first we're going to have a float of different types. We can have a float of damaged modifiers. And if we leave this empty, it'll give us an error because it needs to know how big our float array is, and it really can't find out how big our float array is if we don't tell it how big it is. If you want it to be a dynamic array, we could put maybe like x or whatever our integers, and that will give us the desired amount of items inside the array. So in here, we're going to have, since we're going to do all of these damages, we're also going to want this to be 6. And this is going to be, we can comment this out as, or we can just put it right here. And we'll just know that it's both. So to tell the thing where to start, or the program where to start, we need to make a main method. So public static void main, where we're going to put the scary string args thing. And whatever's inside of here, it will run as the program is starting up. And what was you just sometimes go lose what you're saying, and that's really probably not very beneficial if you're doing a recording for a YouTube video. But nevertheless, we trudge on. So in here we want to create a new game. So we're just calling this, and And we want this method on the very bottom of it so it compiles all of the things above. Since code compiles top down, we want to compile all of the data up here before it finds this and starts running the program. And this is just telling us to start up this. I messed that up. It's telling us to start this. And that's all we really need in the main class, other than maybe making a boolean running. So we could set running to true. And a boolean is just a true or false value. If we have an if statement, we could have we could put this directly into it. So if it's running, it returns true, so it goes into what's inside the if statement. But that's a little later once we get into if, while, and for loops, and also try and catches, which are for usually input with the keyboard. Maybe you want some key bindings for like quick access. There goes my other computer going crazy because I'm recording this on a different computer. So maybe we want. Well, I just contradicted myself way bad. So we want to put this on the very bottom. So let's put that about line 50. So right here, 51, I guess. We want a public method, so public void. We're gonna name this init. How about init? And these subclasses are, the syntax is as such. Well, I'm just kicking this down way far. Probably shouldn't have done that. And in here we want to start it up, and we can also put a So to start this, where it's code compiles from the top to bottom. So anything that's in between here and here is basically bunk. We don't really care about it. And therefore, it doesn't. Oh yes, we need to. We can't do this in the main method, of course, because it won't let me to, because I am a stupid programmer, and you know we're hitting the 15-minute point, and it's gonna take like a freaking hour to render, so I really want to get this done fast. So so what we're gonna do right now is have a while loop, a tick method, if you would. So so while whatever is in here is true. And if we want to exit out the game, we could make running equals false. So running equals true. We will need this to be dynamic, because every time this runs through, it will want to set these equal to here, and that's not very beneficial to what we're doing. And while we're doing it, and you're waiting for the next video to come out, you could make a string array. Which is just an array of names. And to manually write these to manually write these arrays, we could just put square brackets around what we're doing, and in here we could put for one we could put basic enemy, but we need to put these in bracket, or in quotations, of course. Right now, you can go into English, like you can speak English, and between these, we'll want to put commas, and maybe we want a skeleton. And if you want, you can expand this out however long you want. It'll put all the attributes in here. And well, the reason this won't compile is the fact that we haven't mentioned a files class like file.com.main. Okay, well, might be something very, very big. I'm not really seeing it, but might actually be as well, Luke. Um, so while I'm figuring this out, I'm going to upload this, and I'll have a pretty good day.